Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 6 of the Fiesta build. So today we're going to tackle the front end and get the paint work done on the bumper and spray that wing so it's the right colour. Whilst we've got the bumper off, we'll tackle the washer bottle and get that sorted out as well. If the wing and that is anything like the other side that I took off, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. It's going to be rusted to hell, so we'll see how we get on with that. And then at the end we'll come back in and we'll do another tot up and see whether we manage to bring this in under budget. Right, so we're just taking apart the front end so we can get it into paint. I've removed the wing, which I've covered before, so I've not filmed that. Here's the broken washer bottle. I've pulled the old pump out, so I've got a new one of them to go in there in a minute. I've dropped all these bolts off down here to the inner wing, and now with lots of penetrating fluid, now I've got a headlight out of the way, I've got to try and get down, hopefully you can see with the lights I've got here, to that bolt down there. My life, it's freezing. Oh, it's freezing. So I've managed to get them bolts out. That's completely undone now. The bumper's off. Happy days. We're going to tackle the washer bottle pump now and get that filled up, make sure that's holding water and it's working. And then it's get that into the greenhouse, get it warmed up, get it prepped and get it painted. I think we might have to wait until the weather improves somewhat to get this bit done here. Okay, so we've got a replacement washer pump. So that goes on to the connector here. Not easy doing it one-handed, but we'll try. And that seal goes into the bottom of the washer bottle, like so. And these pipes, I'm not entirely sure which one's which or which one goes to which. So we're just going to have to try it. If obviously when we hit the rear washers, if we get front washers and we've got it the wrong way around. But can't do that one-handed. I can't just about. We'll get these pipes on and test them and see what we get. So that's all connected in now. Let's top it up a bit and see whether I've got it the right way around. And first of all, whether it holds fluid, that'd be a good thing. Just pop a bit in for now, just in case. I've got to put them pipes back off. So, pro tip, if you're ever struggling to get your washer bottle topped up, take your wing and bumper off. Oh dear. Right, my key. See what happens. Right. Hey, so that's the front washers, and if I turn you around, it's probably the easiest way, we have rear washers. Right, so I've got the bumper in the greenhouse. I'm just trying to, I've got some 80 grit. I'm just trying to knock down any of the roughness and scrapes that are currently on there. Right. Particularly around, I'm hoping I can get this all smoothed out around the spotlight, so I'm going to have to replace it. So I'll start and work my way up the grades until we get to about a 600 and start to smooth it out and see what it looks like then. If it's not an improvement, then I'm going to have to order an extra surround. The spotlight itself's okay. And then once we've flatted all that out, as I say, we'll work up through the grades until we get to about 600. I've got some flexible filler. Now it has to be flexible filler for a bumper like this, because otherwise it's just going to flex and crack back out, right? So then I'll skim it off with the flexible filler, and then we'll work back through the grades, getting it nice and smooth, up to about 1500 in prep for paint, and then we'll hit it with some high build primer, and then flat it back some more, and then we should be good for the base coat then. So I'm going to crack on and get this done. I'm sure you're not interested in seeing me sand something down. Okay, so we've got that flatted back mostly, up to 600. So I'll let that dry, get all masked up, and then we'll hit it with some primer and see how we go from there. So I've got the heater running to bring the temperature of the greenhouse up, my temporary spray booth, and I'm just heating the high build primer as well. It's a bit cold at the minute to be able to spray properly, but I can get the general temperature up to above 10 degrees, we should be okay. It's all been flatted back. I'm a little bit concerned about these scratches still. You just feel them, so I think we're going to have to fill them. We'll get a tack cloth, just run it completely over the panel where we're going to prime. It just picks up any dirt and debris, any bits off the panel, stops it going into the primer and the paint. Right. So our repair line, because we're going to smart repair this, is going to come down here and then across, down and here. Yeah, so obviously we're going to paint anything this side of the line and below. So I will need to, on the next round, sandal this out. But I'm hoping, as I say, putting some high build on will lose this scratching. If not, we'll get the flexible filler on it. So I'll put my head torch on to give you an idea of the level of the scratching in the bumper. You can see there. That swage line there. That needs to be sharpened up a bit. So we can do that using the filler. So it's the next day, we've put the first coat of high build primer on, we've flatted that back, and I've also applied the first layer of the flexible bumper putty, the filler. Flatted that back as best I can, and then I've just given it another coat of high build primer. So we're going to let this set. You can see there's some minor imperfections still in the panel, which we'll address with another layer of filler. And then once we've fine sanded that back, we should be at a point where we can then high build primer it again and just keep going at it with the primer and sanding it back until we lose all the imperfections to a point where we're ready for the base coat. Okay, so that's with the first coat of base on it. It's not looking too bad actually, it's only had one coat. But if we look a little bit closer, there is a lot of scratching in here still. So that's going to need to be flatted out. There's a little bit of texture on that swage line down there that needs sorting out. At the top there, you can see that. There's still a few dents and stuff and that in there that needs sorting. Scratch there. Some scratching down here. We might lose some of the scratching with the second coat. Obviously, there's scratching here, but there's not a lot I could really do about that because I think there's a lot of fracture lines in the bumper. And it's not new, that's the thing to remember, and the car isn't new. It's a 2009 battered Fiesta. So it's kind of how good do I want to make the job, really. You know, like, part of me wants to make it perfect, so I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but really and truthfully, probably another coat on this and blending it in with a clear coat, it's probably gonna look a lot better than what it is now, or what it was before, certainly. So we're back here the next day. What I've done is basically knock that first base coat back again, all the highs, re-sanded it all back to 600, ready for the base coat. I've just got to take care of that. I've just seen that. You always find stuff that you've missed. We'll give it another coat of high build, give it a light sand, and then we'll go back for the next base and see how that looks. Okay, so we've just laid the first coat of high build back down again. I'm going to follow up with the second coat of high build, and then we'll flat it back at 600 and then crack onto the base coat. I've laid a loose edge here So when we blend all the 2K clear coat in, we're not going to end up with a solid line, so we can get a nice blend. So once I lay the 2K down, I will then feather it out with some blending thinners, and then once it's fully set and cured, we'll then hit it with a DA. So I've just flatted that wing back with 600 grit, just to take the shine off it, so we can then base coat that all blue. But I've sorted out that little bit at the bottom when it was on the car that was coming away from the vehicle a bit. I've bent that back in, which left a little bit of a pit. So I've put some filler on that. We'll flat that back with 600 again. And then once I'm happy with that, we'll just base it up blue and then clear it. Now, we've put the first proper real coat of blue back on now. It's a nice colour match, just baking that at the moment. And then we'll put another coat on and move to clear. And that should see that done. Okay, so that's had 2 coats of 2K clear. So we're starting to get a nice shine on it now. I think that's probably going to need one more. I've put the blending thinners on. Unfortunately, I've had a bit of a run, so that might need a bit of wet sanding to get that to blend. But all in all, once that blends flattened out there, I don't think we're looking too bad, to be honest. I managed to fix the issue with the bumper, and I figured out what it is. So anybody that's a newbie painter like me, whenever you watch any of the tutorials about blending, you always have to leave, so you finish your base up to say here, and then you go over with your clear over to here, and you leave a nice big gap between where the base finishes and where the clear finishes. And basically you have to spray the thinners onto the existing paintwork, not the new. So what I'd done is I'd sprayed the existing paintwork and it had blown across onto the new paintwork, and the thinners had ate through the lacquer straight into the base coat and caused the base to run under the thinners. So we've got a nice blue line running down. So what I've had to do is I've had to flat the entire bumper back and start again. Okay, so we've got 2 coats of base and 3 coats of 2K clear on the wing. As you can see, we've repaired that bit down there. So that needs a couple of days now just to thoroughly cure, and then that can go back on the Fiesta. So that was every bit of a nightmare that I thought it was going to be. I'm definitely no painter, and I'm not likely to become a painter anytime soon. That was probably the guide on how not to paint any car parts, so ignore everything I've done in that video. The time to tot up what it's cost me though to do the paintwork. So Vision Blue was the colour, Ford Vision Blue. So 2 cans of that set me back about £22, about £11 a can, which isn't too bad really. The high build primer, that was 10 quid a can, had 1 of them. The 2K clear, that was 15 quid a can, so it's always worth going for the 2K because it's got the hardener built into it. A normal clear is about 10 quid, so it's about £5 per can dearer. So we went through 2 cans of that. Mixed wet and dry, about £3-ish, and tack cloths a couple of quid. So all in all, oh yes, we got the thinners as well. That was about £10 a can. I got that off Amazon though before. So all in all, grand total of about 90 quid for supplies to get the paintwork done, and then just a shed load of my time. Shouldn't have been a shed load of my time, but I'm crap, so it was a shed load of my time. So if we revisit the board, we had 190 quid to get the paintwork done. So we're still in surplus of about £100. So that leaves me about 100 quid to sort the injector issues out, which I think I'm definitely going to get it done within that. I did take the glow plugs back and return them because, like I said, don't think we need to change them. So yeah, if I can pull this building for 1700, happy days. It's small margins, but it's small cost as well. It was only an £1,800 project, so you know, win's a win. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your support. The last video had quite a bit of interest and quite a few comments off the back of it, which is always pleasing. As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Cheers, catch you next time.